Good morning and welcome to another devotion. This is Pastor Steve Chambers from Grace Lutheran Church here in Edmonton. And it's Monday, December 21st, which, as you probably know, is the shortest day of the year. And I'm out here in my backyard. It's exactly 9 o'clock, which is about 12 minutes past sunrise. Shortest day of the year, sunrise at 8:48 today, and sunset this afternoon at 4:16. That gives us something like 7 hours, 27 minutes, and a handful of seconds of the day. That's it, 7.5 hours. If you want to do something outside today in the daylight, you don't have a very long window in which to do it. So I'm going to try to go for a run about lunchtime, because if I leave it till mid-afternoon, which I can easily do in the summer and like to do in the summertime, it's too late. I'm running in the dark, and I don't like that. By the time we get to the summer, June the 20th, longest day of the year, our length of day then is 17 hours and I forget how many minutes, but it's more than 2 times, about 2.25 times the length of day that we have today. So it's quite a day, isn't it? Shortest day of the year, winter solstice. But it isn't just the physical length of day that is a bit of a burden for many of us right now. There's also other kinds of darkness that we're contending with too. I hardly have to say too much about the virus and what's going on there. Yes, it's true. On the one hand, we have a vaccine that's already started to be administered to some in our province, but on the other hand, there's this new strain that we're now hearing about, right? Which is more transmissible than the dominant strain so far. More to worry about there. And we look out into the world and we see rising rates of all kinds of dark things as a result of this pandemic too. From what I gather, there are supposedly higher rates of child abuse, higher rates of domestic abuse. Drug addiction problems are worse than they have been in sort of normal times. And when I talk to other pastors, I hear that there is considerably more marriage counseling and family troubles going on as well. Maybe because people are isolated, because they're cut off from many of their normal supports, maybe because they're cooped up too much with just the same small handful of people. So, you know, it's a dark time, isn't it? Not just up there in the sky, but also in our neighborhoods, and also even more than that, when we turn and look into our own hearts and souls. We find a lot of darkness there too, don't we? Where do all these other problems come from? Well, ultimately from the sin in our hearts, from the sin that lives there, percolates there, festers there, and then often springs up from there to make our own lives more difficult and to poison the lives of those around us too. So, darkness, darkness, darkness. But as an antidote to that darkness, you know, I've been drawing a lot of strength over the last number of weeks from something that we heard in our epistle reading from St. Paul's first letter to the Thessalonians back on November 15th, 5 weeks ago now. I've been clinging to this as a source of great hope. Because on the one hand, Paul talks about Christ coming when he returns like a thief in the night. And there's a lot of night imagery that percolates through that whole reading from 1 Thessalonians 5. Have a look at it for yourself. 1 Thessalonians 5, 1-11. Lots of talk about night and darkness and all the terrible things that happen in the darkness. And then we hear about Christ returning in the darkness, or like a thief in the darkness, and we think, oh my goodness, that's going to be terrible. Just another burden to bear on top of everything else, if we now have to be afraid of that too. But that's not really what Paul is getting at in that reading, not at all. He says, friends, Christians, you are not of the darkness, you are not of the night. That little word of is a critical word there. He means that's not what constitutes us, that's not what comprises us, that's not what defines who we are, or the time in which we live either. Oh yes, there's a lot of night out there, there's a lot of darkness around us, all around us right now. But Paul says, you are not of the darkness, you are not of the night. Instead, he says, you are children of the light, you are children of the day. That's our identity. That's who defines us. That's what defines us. That's who we truly are. Children who have been born of the light, who have been born of the day. Why? Because the day has come. The day of Christ has come. It came 2,000 years ago when he was born in Bethlehem. And that's what we celebrate at this time of year and cling to for hope and joy, even in the midst of all this darkness. Our Old Testament reading, one of our Old Testament readings for this time of year through the Christmas season is from Isaiah 60, a beautiful reading where the prophet foresees Christ coming and says, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. See, darkness covers the earth, and thick darkness is over the peoples. But the glory of the Lord rises upon you, and the light of the Lord appears over you." There's so much hope and joy in that realization, isn't there? That yes, the time has turned. It turned when Christ came. And maybe we look out into the world and we look around and we say, you know what? Still looks pretty dark up there, and still looks pretty dark out there, and still looks pretty dark in here too. But you know what? It has actually begun to change already. Tomorrow, physically, in the sky, tomorrow is 6 seconds longer than today. Did you know that? 6 seconds. Celebrate them. Take a deep breath and hold it for 6 seconds and say, you know what? This is an extra, a bonus that I didn't have yesterday. By the middle of next week, December 30th, 8 days from now, the day will be adding more than 1 minute to the length of every day. 1 minute doesn't sound like much, but the trajectory, you see, that's the important thing. Lengthening days. The light is coming. As Paul says, arise, shine, for your light has come. The glory of the Lord rises upon you. Oh yes, that's what this whole season of the church year is about, you know. Now in Advent, we look at the darkness. We're in the darkness. We contemplate it. We don't turn away from it. We don't ignore it or deny it. We say, yes, you know what? This is a dark world in every way. But that's not the end of the story. Christ has come. Christ is coming. Christ will come again. And in him, our light has come. So friends, we're not of the darkness. We're not of the night. We are children of the light. We are children of the day, for Christ has come. Celebrate his coming. Look forward to his coming again. Welcome his coming today. May he carry us through till finally we see the full length of days with our Father in heaven. There's something to carry us through, no matter how short and gloomy our day may seem. Till next time, God bless you all. Bye for now.